Long before the concept of modern industry, the riverbanks of Ganges and Yamuna formed the core of ancient civilization. Cities like Kashi and Ayodhya served as the heavyweights of spiritual and social life, drawing scholars and traders from across the continent. This region was also a center of advanced science and heavy industry. Artisans here forged iron structures that have resisted corrosion for over 16 centuries, a level of metallurgical precision that modern engineers still struggle to replicate with current technology. This chart tracks global GDP over the last 2 millennia. The orange line represents India. By the year 1700, the productivity of this region helped drive nearly a quarter of total global economic output. The concentrated trade routes, scientific expertise, and massive agricultural yield of the Gangetic Plain made it the primary engine of the world's most lucrative economy prior to foreign intervention. British colonization triggered a systematic dismantling of this industrial base. Through heavy taxation and mandatory home charges, fees paid to London from military and administrative costs, massive amounts of wealth were drained from the local economy. Specialized industrial centers were stripped of their resources, forcing a transition where thriving hubs of global trade were reduced to agricultural populations focused entirely on daily survival. This economic suffocation eventually triggered a massive breaking point. In 1857, soldiers and citizens in Meerut launched a fierce physical rebellion, a desperate fight by local heroes to reclaim their land and autonomy. The losses from that rebellion and the decades of hardship that followed forged an enduring grit among the people of Uttar Pradesh, a physical and mental toughness that would come to define the region's workforce. Moving into the 20th century, the specialized skills of the local artisans survived within isolated regional hubs, preserved through generational apprenticeships. Kanpur rose as a major textile and leather center, while Moradabad maintained its status in brassware, and Bhadohi refined its world-renowned carpet weaving. In Varanasi, weavers sat at traditional handlooms to preserve the complex silk-working techniques of the Banarasi sari. These crafts kept the region's industrial memory intact, even as the global economy shifted. These legacy hubs were essential for cultural survival, but they lacked the necessary scale to provide employment for the state's massive growing population. A post-independent economic lull left millions of young people with few local opportunities. Millions of workers, particularly from the Purvanchal region, began migrating outward in search of work. They provided the physical strength for the country's most demanding projects, pouring concrete and laying the steel backbone of modern Indian infrastructure. From the underground tunnels of the Delhi metro to the high-altitude bridges of the Himalayas, the physical labor of workers from Uttar Pradesh was the foundation of the nation's growth. For decades, the state's most significant contribution to the national economy was the raw muscle and grit required to build the infrastructure of other regions. 10 years ago, the government launched the Make in India initiative to reverse centuries of deindustrialization and transform the country into a global manufacturing power. This chart shows India's ease of doing business rank climbing from 142nd to 63rd. This reflects a massive push to digitize compliance, simplify tax structures, and eliminate the bureaucratic friction that previously stalled industrial growth. The financial impact of this policy shift is clear. Foreign direct investment reached a record high of nearly $85 billion in the 2021 to 2022 financial year. To sustain this, the government introduced production-linked incentive, or PLI, schemes. These programs commit over $26 billion to subsidize manufacturing in 14 critical sectors, including electronics and high-tech medical devices. This combination of deregulation and targeted investment created the momentum necessary for the state to begin bringing its migrated workforce back home. Today, specific high-growth corridors are becoming premier destinations for global investment, beginning to reverse the traditional pattern of outward labor migration. Zones like Noida and Greater Noida have emerged as the new epicenters of this modern manufacturing wave, attracting massive capital from global technology firms. India is now the world's second-largest mobile phone manufacturer, producing 99. Many of these sophisticated, high-tech assembly lines are now located right here in the region. Beyond consumer electronics, this massive industrial explosion includes the domestic production of advanced transport technology, like the Vande Bharat trains. These projects are creating millions of high-value jobs within the state's own borders. The state provided the spiritual roots and the physical muscle to build modern India. Today, its own industrial centers are engineering the technological future of the world.